Welcome to the Alchemist Circle. I'm Alan McPhee, and today, what about today? Well, I'm feeling the need to explain myself a little more, because this channel, which I'm starting, and it's a lot of work. It looks like more work than I thought. Okay, rather than my static channel. I have a channel doing philosophy, which is just for educational purposes. And this one is more education, fun, my hobby, something I love to do, talk about abstract, crazy ideas. But as I try to look for resources to put this idea together, I realize that there's an inconsistency in how people view these concepts I present in this channel. And at the same time, I have my own meaning that I'm using. And so really, this site is about Alan McPhee's Alchemy. Hey, Alan McPhee's Alchemy. So I'm giving my interpretation of these ideas. And then and in this particular section of the channel, it's just all about the big concept, the big ideas, right? And this channel is for anyone who's interested in alchemy and don't have the foggiest clue. Right. So, and this is important. If you don't know anything about it, when you walk away from my channel, you will understand some things about it for sure. You know all the big ideas. And eventually, when we get into the historical side, as I dig back into the history and bring out the big alchemists from Egypt, from England, and around the world, from China, then we're going to have more of that on the table. I'm just beginning. And I want to say that today, I want to focus today. Right? Today's topic is transmutation. And if you're new to the channel, please click the subscribe button and click the little bell so that you get more notices, right? Every time I drop in a new video, and encouraging me to go and do more videos and ask questions as well. But right now I'm just trying to get everything together. Don't ask too many questions. But transmutation. This is probably the most controversial of ideas in alchemy. And when people hear transmutation, they cringe, they run around, oh my God, transmutation. So I want to say two things. First, I'm using the word alchemy to really mean the active philosophy of science. That's my basic working meaning, the active philosophy of science. In other words, the active philosophy of science didn't start with science when it emerged. That is an ancient idea from the old world. That's what I'm saying. So the ancient idea emerged in the thing we call science today. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's much more radical thesis. But it also means that whatever truth science discover, I absorb them into the concept of alchemy I'm presenting. So there's no difference between myself and the scientists, except for they're doing the research. And I'm just looking at the philosophical consequence of what they're presenting. Right? So that's kind of like the way I'm approaching it. Now, this word transmutation, which is very controversial, is in the middle of the discussion between science and alchemy. It has been long been thought of that this word transmutation, it's just not real. It doesn't exist. It's false. It's magical thinking. It's foolishness. And I need to bring some clarity. Okay, I need to bring some clarity. So first of all, let's define this word. Transmutation can be described as a radical change. Okay, a radical change. And by radical, we mean not an ordinary change like something getting older, but what you're looking at stop being itself in some major way. There are two possible ways this can occur. And I'm open to grow and change that in my meaning. And if you have a different idea of what transmutation should mean, make this your goal to educate me. Put your information right down there, okay? Two types of ways transmutation take place. One is change of kind, where one type of thing become another type of thing. You can say one kind become another kind. Formally, I call that change of form. The form changes. There are two examples I can give right off the top of my head. First and foremost is the butterfly. The butterfly begins its life as a caterpillar. walking around, caterpillar, doing my own thing, right? And then later it becomes a butterfly. Science calls this thing metamorphosis, where an organism has one way it begins life and go through a radical change in body and it becomes something else, metamorphosis. This move is a transmutation. Metamorphosis equals transmutation. Same thing. That's the first meaning. That's a change in kind. You already living your life. You're a caterpillar. Why are you going to not get wings and fly around? That's transmutation. The second example is the frog. The frog began its life, little tadpole swimming in the water. And what happened to the frog? It began to grow legs and soon it's hopping on the land. The frog goes through a metamorphosis. That is what we call transmutation. It's a change in kind. You change the kind of body that you have in a radical way. In a radical way, you change your body. You're already a tadpole in the water. Why are you changing? Why are you switching side? You have another body. It's the phenomena of the body here. That's the change in kind. That's one version of the transmutation. There's more to be said about this version, but it's going to take me too far. Because ordinarily, you and I, we are ourselves. We're not going to be transmuting our body to something else. But this form of transmutation, this metamorphosis, right? In alchemy, we're saying that we can cause the metamorphosis. We can cause something to metamorphosize, basically. And this idea of transmutation has a lot of implication in the world of magic. It is definitely there in nature through the frog and the butterfly, but it has a lot of implication in the world of magic. And I would like to come back to that at a later time. We can I'll have another discussion on magical transmutation in terms of change in kind. Now, the second form of transmutation is a change in substance. Change in substance means the kind remains the same. It is what it is. Like you have a marble table and someone looks at the design, at that marble table and take that design and make the same table in wood. So it's the same table, the same form, but it have different material, substances, right? See, when we think of living things, we don't think of them as having change of substance that much, but it is to be discussed. So let's look at transmutation, change of substance, where you should be aware of it. Now, I mentioned that earlier that scientists do not like the word transmutation. They just think that this is wrong. I need to make sure we understand something. Everyone understands. Everyone missed this. I don't know why they keep missing it. As Chinese are not against transmutation. Scientists believe that the world you live in right now emerges from transmutation. What they are opposed to is that the idea that an ordinary human being, especially those that live way back when, can actually engage in those transmutation themselves. It is who is doing it is their problem. Scientists have even replicated some of this in their lab. Who's doing it is their problem because it's so complicated for scientists to do, right? There's a thing called nuclear transmutation that illustrates this. In the heart of your stars, there's some fundamental particles, the helium that's in there, and the heavy pressure in the gases. Those things fuse together and produce more heavier elements. Nuclear transformation is where one chemical element changes to another chemical element. This can happen in a chemical reaction in the lab. It can happen through nuclear decay, but it also occurs in the heart of suns. The various size suns out there, these solar bodies, produce different kind of elements. I mean, we don't have our planet unless transmutation has taken place. The more lighter particles of which the universe is made up form together to form the heavier things, like iron and lead and things of that nature, right? So chemical transmutation is a natural reality. It's It's a given. The only thing the alchemists from the old were saying that we can do the same. They somehow understood, without even the rise of the atoms, that the world is made of small little parts. And if you look at all the metals together, all the metals represent a certain type of family. They must be closely related in terms of their fundamental parts. If we can find the chemical mixture between the chemical connection between lead and gold, okay, maybe we can do like a butterfly effect. The lead would be the caterpillar and the gold is the butterfly. All we gotta do is figure out what the mechanism to change that. We transmute it, right? There's already a connection, they're metals. So they have to have some connection with all the parts. So forget lead to gold, what particles must I add to lead or take away from lead to get into gold? When we do when you have reactions that affect the nuclear of the atoms, the electron, proton, neutrons, the numbers change, you can change. So when you have chemical reactions in the lab, you can put two chemicals in a flask and they react to each other, and then you get 3 or 4 other chemicals there. You get other chemicals in the flask that wasn't there because of the interaction. That is caused transmutation. We have a lot more knowledge today than we did then, but the ideas still remain the same. If metals belong to the same family, isn't it possible for me to change one to another? So if you can do that, then you would have what we call transmutation, change of substance. I need to say that I need to talk more about this nuclear transmutation. I'd like to create a talk just about that because there is a lot of misunderstanding. People really, really think that scientists believe there are no transmutation, but you go read the literature. That's what the stars do. The stars produce heavy natural elements. And scientists have discovered their own elements, which means scientists are alchemists. That's what the alchemists are saying. You can mix these things and put it together. And if you know the history, your first chemists were alchemists. They were practicing alchemy. They were working and trying to change the base metal into gold, right? And then they started changing this chemical to make medicine. Okay, why don't we create certain chemical mixtures that'll help us live better lives through creating medicine? All right, so transmutation, 2 kinds, change of kind and change of substance. But it's so complicated. I'm going to have to do at least 2 other videos, one on magical transmutation and one on nuclear transmutation, just to get those 2 sides of the house together. Those who are geared more towards magic and it's a proliferation throughout society today, and those who look at things through the eyes of science. Okay, I use nuclear transmutation as an opportunity to go deeper into how science absorbs this idea of transmutation, how it works. And as we go on in this channel, we're going to be promoting esoteric alchemy, the transmutation of the self. How do I change myself to a better version? So transform myself, change in kind, okay? And then transmute myself. Hopefully not the change in form. Remember that you still stay what you are, but at least the change in substance, all right? Which I have to do more research, but I really, right now I'm inclined to believe that when you engage in health and you engage in consuming certain nutrients, you're ultimately engaging in the transmutation of your body in terms of the change of substance. That's all for today. If you like what you hear, please click the subscribe button. If you want to share a comment on this meaning, please share your comment. Look at the previous video on transformation to get a better sense of that concept. This channel is about learning together. I'm going to share my insights and how it works for me and how I interpret it. And you should understand that I am a growing alchemist. I don't have a one way to tell you. I'm just telling you my working definitions and how they work. So I'm able to grow over time, and I'll make new videos to confirm when I have major changes in my ideas. But for right now, I think I've said it all you can say.